So let's start with the actual Game Boy. I'm just going to take off anything here that could be a distraction. There we go. And I'm going to start with the basics. You've just bought the system, and I'm going to start and show you what you need to do. First thing I'm going to do is, because we're going to be working, I'm just putting a non-static here just because it's smooth and I don't want to scratch anything or damage anything like that. And you saw the problem that we had just now. We had a problem where if you put a game cartridge in, it wouldn't read. And I can show you what causes that problem. Okay. So excuse my desktop and everything else, but you see we've got a game cartridge here, and you can see something very interesting with this game cartridge. This game cartridge has a bunch of dust on there, and what looks like scrapes and scuffs, and there's a bunch of blue, green stuff over there. You know, it's not in great condition, you see? It looks disgusting. Now what this is this is oxidization. This is what happens to these game cartridges, you know? If you take these game cartridges and you just leave them out somewhere, you leave them like in your house, in a shelf somewhere, or in a drawer somewhere, and you don't touch them, you know, the oxygen in the air starts eating away at the copper pads. Same thing happens to the little pins at the back here of the system. So eventually there's going to come a time when all of these systems will just stop working. They're all going to be unrepairable. Luckily we're not there yet, and the main reason for that is just things age, things deteriorate. So what do you do when it gets to this stage? Luckily, like over the years, especially the audiophile community has come up with some ingenious ways of restoring these. There's a product called Contact Cleaner. You get many manufacturers make it, and I'll show you what that does. I just used one application of Contact Cleaner, and look at the difference. We'll see, here we go. Here's the green part that we saw earlier. Unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to take photos of these cartridges, so I can't even do this for you live. But this is what Contact Cleaner does, is it cleans out these cartridges. So this is what you're going to buy. It's called Contact Cleaner. These are dirt cheap, and a bottle like this will last you for 5 or 6 years. In fact, the previous bottle, I had to throw it away because it rusted, the bottom of it rusted. And I used that bottle back when I was repairing these full time. Okay, so all you're going to do, grab your Contact Cleaner. If you want to repair these, grab a game that was giving you a little bit of problem. You're going to grab some earbuds, which I swear I did place here earlier. Q-tips, earbuds, you know what these are. Take this, spray a little bit on there. I'm just going to take this away from. Get it nice and wet. And you stick it in there. Now what's important is you want to go the direction of the contact. So up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'm swapping it over every so often. Now what's so nice about this product? Why am I recommending this one specifically for you? Contact Cleaner is also a lubricant, which means it leaves a little thin layer of oil on top of the contacts. And that oil will stop the oxidization for several years. So some of these games I've got here I never cleaned again for like many years, and they're still perfectly fine. So it stops that process entirely. It's also electric safe, so you don't have to clean it off afterwards. Am I still live? Let's just double check. Sorry. Yes, I am. Okay. Okay. So, I've just cleaned the cartridge, and I just want to show you something. Look at this. See that black spot? This is all of the oxidization we just knocked off. It took us 5 minutes to do so. So we're going to do the same. I'm going to take this end. Now this end is too thick. I'm just going to take something a little bit heavy. I'm just going to put it down. Same thing, I'm squishing it. Thinning it out a little bit just so I've got this nice little thing here. Exactly the same thing, clean it, put some contact cleaner on there. Okay, and we're just gently going to insert this in the pins. Very, very gently. I'm not applying any force whatsoever. I'm just going through and just gently pressing it in. I'm not bending the pins because I squished it down earlier. Hey Koda, are you helping? Hey chicken, what do you mean, Punky? That's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to squish this down a little bit more because I want to get it a little bit deeper. Okay, do that again. So you can see how this bottle will last you like an eternity, you know. I'm just doing the same thing, just gently pushing it in. You really want to squash down that Q-tip so that you don't apply any force on the pins. Okay. Well, you can't see because it's not dry yet, but you can see how black that is already on there and there. It's done its job, you know. Don't have to wait for it to dry because it's electronically safe. Nintendo, first time. Done. Yeah, the oxidization is insane, you know, especially at the coast where I am, where there's a ton of humidity in the air. You know, there's nothing we can do about it. All of our electronics will go through this. So part of the hobby of doing all of this, part of the thing with my consoles is once every 3 to 4 months I switch it on, I check if it's working, I fix anything that might have broken, you know, and I go systematically through my systems because you need to. It's part of the hobby. If you don't do that, if you just have things sit, and this is a good tip for you, if you're buying one of these on eBay, you'll see the listing and it'll say, worked last time I used it. Okay, and you'll ask the seller about it and you'll go, oh, yeah, it was working perfectly, it was in my attic, I just can't find the game so I can't test it. That thing isn't going to work when you switch it on. You're going to have the contacts most likely, and maybe some analog, something with the controls. I'll show you how to fix that. And when you switch it on, the thing just isn't going to function properly. And then you have to do a repair. Right, so that is the first thing that I recommend you do. And for like 99% of people, this is going to be enough. They don't want to take it any further. You know, they're happy, it works, they can play their old games. You know, maybe you've got a few Game Boy games sitting at home that you want to play. You can play those, no hassle, have a little bit of nostalgia or whatever. But we want to take this to the next part. Let's say you clean the contacts, you switch it on, and the controls aren't working, or like the audio soft. You now need to open the system, and this is where this channel is going to differ from everyone else. We're hands-on. I'm going to open all of these with you. I'm going to take you through step by step the process. And then we're going to do it together. So let's open this up. For this, okay, so Nintendo is extremely clever, or they think they're clever. When they release this, they don't want the kids to actually open up the systems. It's not so much about unauthorized people. So to open up any of the Game Boys, you need a special screwdriver. It's called a Y screwdriver. Okay, it's shaped like a Y. It only has 3 blades. Once you've got that, it's dead easy. You just unscrew it. Your normal screws won't fit in there because it's a Y shape. The game cartridges are a bit more difficult. Game cartridges uses a Gamebit. It's like a round one that you put in and screw out. Unfortunately, I don't have mine anymore. I don't know where it went. It got lost over the years. So let's open this up and see what this looks like inside. Luckily, it's so easy to open these. It's not like switches or anything that you have to be scared that you're going to break anything when you open it. But in a nutshell, There's just 6 screws at the back, holding it all together. In fact, no, Gameboy Colour was only 4. So it's going to take like less than a second to get in here. Imagine taking your Nintendo Switch apart this easily. 4 screws and you're in. Okay, let's open it up. Make sure I didn't forget any screws. Oh no, there's 2 more at the bottom, I forgot. Luckily we checked. Also, I'm like working with this quite a bit away from me. So it's not very close. I can't exactly see what's going on. Okay, in fact, in this case, what I'm going to do is... Now watch this magic. Huh? We have zoom. We've got technology. Okay, it just opens up. You just gently pry it left and right. It might be a bit stiff if you're opening up the one for the first time in a long time. Okay, we've got it open. And you can see here, even like metal has started gaining a little bit of oxidization. It's not a big deal, not a big problem. We're going to clean those off. You know, there's a bit of dust. Okay, and this is basically what your Game Boy looks like inside. Neato, right? I should probably get a wire screwdriver in case I need to repair my Switch Joy-Cons. Thankfully mine started drifting after 3 to 4 years. Yeah, and speaking of drifting, you spray this into your actual Joy-Con, you open it up, where the contact is, you spray this into it, you move it around for a minute or 2. You won't have a drift. 100% guaranteed you're not going to have a drift afterwards. Because the drifting is due to it losing the carbon pads. Okay, so I want to move this a little bit so that we can get to a place that we don't have too much glare. Can you guys see there? In fact, what I will do is I'll switch over to here. There we go. Now we've got more real estate. Okay, so let's start at the basics. Let's just have a look and see what we've got on here. Okay, and then we'll take it from there. So the first thing you'll do is you'll do a visual. Just want us to check what's inside here. So you look for any places that has that green oxidization I showed you earlier. Okay, so this doesn't have anything. There was a little bit of spots here on the case. So you see that? It's a little bit of oxidization. That's perfectly normal. You'll see that there's some yellow stuff here. So let's push this up. You see how this is slightly yellowed? Don't worry about it. That's just the flux that they used to connect the pins on both sides. But there's nothing green on here. Everything looks good. Awesome. So now we're going to take it one step further and then we're going to open it up. Once you're inside, you don't need your Y bits anymore. You can go to a normal star screwdriver. Remember, it's only there to stop the kids from opening it. It's not there to stop you from opening it. Okay, we've got all of our screws out. You see the board is loose now. I'm just going to take this, I'm just going to flip it over. I know it's upside down, but it gives us a good time to actually look here. There's some important stuff on here. Unfortunately, the glare... Let me zoom back out again. So I think the glare spot is... Oh wait, let's do this. Disable autofocus. There we go. Isn't that better? A bit darker, but we are zoomed in again. Okay. So you see all of these contacts over here. These are for your game buttons. So how your game buttons work. I'll push this back up again. You've got a little membrane here. There's a little bit of carbon. Okay, and then you've got the button. So if you press the button down, it basically pushes that membrane up and it touches the actual pad. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to clean all of these. Because let's say you got it new and one button doesn't work. 99% of the time it's one of this, or if you open it up and like it doesn't respond properly, most of the time it's that. Okay. We've got a banger on. Just a second. Okay. Yeah, being careful is the best way to do it. And Raiders also posted on top there, these are the main culprits to breakage, so no longer makes sense because new sales back when day one was being built last. Yeah, 100%. That makes perfect sense. Okay, now for these, you can't... Okay, for these you can use contact cleaner, but for your rubbers, things that have rubber in it, like this here, you don't want to use that. So what we're going to do quickly now, the first thing we want to do, because this is difficult to work with, it's going to turn this upside down again. And it has a little latch there. So you're just going to push the latch up. So that's 2 clips. Push the 2 clips up. Okay. And now this ribbon cable, don't force it because you don't want to bend it. It will literally just slide out, just like that. If you have to pull it or pry it, it means that you didn't remove the latch. So here you can see the latch there. Easy enough. Okay, now we've got 2 parts to this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up as we're working. Because a lot of these things will not be going back onto the system. Okay, so let's start off with this. So I mentioned you've got a sticky button. How would you repair that? Same thing we did last time. Grab a little bit of contact cleaner. And you're just going to go over these. Just make sure they're nice and shiny. I'm not pressing down hard, I'm just letting the earbud do all of the work for me. I'm also not sitting here for 10 minutes scraping. I'm just going to go over once, and then by then it's dried out a little bit already. I'm just going to wet it again, take a second go of it. Okay, perfect. At the dry side, I see the speaker is a little bit dirty. I'm just gently going to wipe that, and you can see it's not really coming off because a lot of this is all dust and debris. So the other thing that you can use is window cleaner. The generic everyday window cleaner that you've got at home. Works fantastically on plastics, evaporates quickly, and you can use it for the rubber pads. Done. You can now put this aside. And now I'm going to do the same for these little pads. As you can see here, this is dirty already. It's like turned a nice nicotine yellow. So grab another one. Q-tips are cheap. Luckily I still have a little bit of the window cleaner. I'm just going to clean the oil residue off of these. What will happen is this will get oily, it gets a bit shiny. When they go shiny, they don't make good contact anymore. But at the same time, you don't want to use any harsh chemicals on here because you don't want to take the the carbon off completely. So remember, it's a carbon that makes contact with those buttons. That's what makes it work. Done. Grab the dry side. Just because I'm a little bit impatient. What's important is now that you've got it cleaned, you do not want to touch the actual carbon contacts anymore. You don't want to get more oil on there and break it again, right? Okay, I'm going to take it out and I'm just going to turn it upside down so that I don't touch those contacts. I'm just going to, while we're here, just clean off like any dust and stuff that we might have on here, because we'll be reusing that shortly. Okay, that one's clean. Put it somewhere safe. Next one. Also, how's everyone's day been? Have you been doing anything interesting? Seen any new streamers? That's awesome. You like? Because we will be raiding after this as well. Okay. So I'm literally just going off here and I'm just taking off all of the dust. I know that this is clean. This bag is clean at the back side. But what's important is now the actual contacts itself, they're not shiny anymore. I know it's a bit difficult to see in the camera, but they're nice dull color. That means that the cleaning worked. You know, you don't want them to be shiny. Do the same to this one. See all of the crud that was in there from the previous owner. Definitely don't want to get that back on the contacts. I'm going to give these just one more clean, because I see this one is still like a little bit dirty. And it's amazing just how the machines just get dirty over time. You know? Not necessarily anything that you've done, it's just time, you know. Yeah. But at this stage, you can just take everything and you can like reassemble it and switch it on, and you should now have a machine that at least, you know, the buttons are perfect, you know, and you've cleaned it out and you should see some life in it. Other things that can go wrong here is these battery terminals at the back. If they left like a battery in there and it's leaked, it'll leak all over this motherboard. Let me see that here. It'll leak all over that and it'll cause damage to it. And that's one of the few cases that you can destroy one of these just by leaving batteries in that eventually leak. But generally speaking, when you find one of these, it's going to be perfect. Other things that might happen is you might get it and it's not switching on properly. Or when you wiggle this. Okay, you wiggle the power switch, it's going to switch on. And for that, we use our contact cleaner again, and we're just going to spray literally the smallest spray that we possibly can into the switch, and we're just going to activate the switch a few times. Okay, we're going to do the same thing at the back to the other switch. to the little potentiometer here, which is your volume dial. What this will do is it'll stop it from if you turn the volume dial so it doesn't scratch when you do. The tiniest little spray is all you need. And you're just going to work it in. You can see we spilled a little bit there, so grab your cotton bud, mop up as much as you can. Don't worry, this can't damage the printer's PCB at all. It is PCB safe. It's made to work in electronics. Grab the little extra bit out. And that is just about everything that can go wrong with your Game Boy. I mean, there really isn't much that goes wrong with these. Okay, so we covered buttons. We covered the power switch, if the power switch is a bit loose. We covered if you've got sound and you increase or decrease it, it's a bit scratchy. Just use that contact cleaner. And it loops it right up for you. Terminals and leaky batteries, that is something that will need advanced repair. We can do advanced repair if I ever find a system that's like that, but you don't see them that often. But now we can actually start with the proper upgrades and the things that we wanted to do here. Because we've got the motherboard out. Oh, Punky, let me show Punky quickly. I think it was Punky that asked, but someone asked earlier how you actually, if your screen is cracked, if you have this plastic in front is cracked. So what you're going to do is you're going to disassemble the screen entirely like it is here. You can see mine is already like cracked, so this might not be the best of ideas, but you're going to hold it like this. You're going to twist left and right, and when you do so, the little LCD screen, the little glue that's in there, it's very old. It's going to start coming loose. And when that happens, see, I'm just applying a little bit of pressure on that side, so I'm just bending it the tiniest of amounts. You can grab something, I don't recommend a screwdriver, but you can grab something soft, credit card for instance, and you can just work your way around here. Do the other side as well. And then once you do that, this little screen here, it'll drop right out. You know, it might need a little bit of force, but you can work your way out here. Put my plastic spatula on the ready for just this operation. There we go. You heard the glue go loose. Hopefully I didn't push it back in again, which I think I did accidentally. There we go. Yeah, now that you've done that, you can just pry the rest of it off gently. I'm going to do it a bit closer to me so that I can see what I'm doing. There's our screen, and you can see it's all in one piece. It didn't get damaged, anything like that. I don't leave any marks. You know, I would recommend always use a plastic one so that you don't scratch it and so you don't scratch the plastic. Now that you've got the screen out, all you do from this side is just press down, and you press hard enough and this whole faceplate comes loose. And then you can stick on your new one. I'm not going to do that just as yet because we don't have to do that. We're going to take this to the next level. Now, what's important when I do these sort of repairs is I make sure that I keep all of the old parts, because I want to make sure that if anything... Sorry, I need to drink of water. If anything happens to whatever we're doing, we can always revert back. We can always put the old stuff back on. So keep all of this safe. Let me switch on my soldering iron so long. This is more advanced. This is what I would say is like the next level to what we've just done. Yeah, now what I can do is I'm going to move and rearrange here a little bit. Zoom you guys out again.